The final of the Firestone Master Driver Series sees 8 of South Africa's best race and rally drivers compete in standard Toyota Corollas fitted with steel stones in the grueling rally, race and auto test categories. Tonight we introduce you to the 8 finalists.
Here we have the next.
Nic De Waal is one of the new breed of drivers who are equally at home on the dirt or on tar, and his consistent performance in the Lichtenburg round of the series earned him #1 spot.
I feel pretty confident about the rally stage. We've just over it now, and it's a very nice, tight and tricky surface. I'm though not so confident about the auto test, and in the race I think I've got a middle of the road chance. I think one must go for a good average, in that I'd be happy if I get a second place in all 3 of the things, rather than try and win everyone.
Cape Townian Steve Wynham is better known for his racing exploits, but has competed in the odd rally in the past. Steve is particularly talented when it comes to the auto test.
I think I've got a pretty good chance. Having done 3 finals already, I'm quite confident. The first year I finished second to Serge, so hopefully this year it'll be a win. I'm not really a rally driver, but I'm going to try and finish in the first 3, and in the auto test I'm going to try and go flat out for a win there. I've always fancied doing handbrake turns and that sort of thing. It's good fun. So we used to practice on the roads a lot when we were youngsters, so I'm quite good at it.
Serge Damseaux is a 2 times winner of the coveted Master Driver title and is again the man to beat. Damseaux is, however, philosophical about the prospect of being beaten.
If I get beaten fair, square, that's fine. I mean, it's not the end of it anyway, you know. Last year I was actually a lot more nervous, and this year I said, well, if I make it, it's good luck. If I don't, it's just one of those things. And I think this is going to be my last year, definitely. I'll have my say afterwards, and we'll see what happens.
Mike Briggs is a racing driver with a great future ahead of him. His aggressive style saw him romp to victory in the first round of the series, and he is determined to win the final.
They are very pleasant to drive. To think that these are basically stock standard road going vehicles, they're very exciting. They handle well, the cornering abilities are very good, the tyres have been remarkable, they've held up to the punishment we put them through. I must say it's really very good for a standard road car, standard road tyres, given to very rough and tough racing and rally drivers to break. I'd like to tip Damseaux off of his little throne, and let's say it can be a racing driver, and why not me?
Newly crowned South African rally champion Glyn Hall took overall honours in the second round at Vaal. Better known for his rally exploits, Hall has also proven to be quite adept on the racetrack.
The strategy is to do as well as possible, but I think judging by the length of the rally stage, one's got to be really careful to be clean. You know, in 4Ks there's a lot of corners. It's the first true rally stage I think we've had in the series, so it'll be interesting to see the outcome of it. Judging by 5 drivers and the finishes against 3 race drivers, it looks like it does favour, the series favours rally drivers to a certain extent.
Loads of talent and aggression are the trademarks of Terry Moss, who is one of the leading saloon car drivers in the country. Moss is also a top performer in the auto test.
Well, I'm no rally ace, but I'm certainly going to try. I'm going to give Serge and them a run for the money. But I'd like to leave them, let the rally guys pressurise one another. I'd rather finish a good 5th, 4th, and get a good average over the whole series. That's the way you're going to win this final. You're going to try and go for a win every one. You're going to come unstuck. This is a tough one. These finalists this time, anyone can win.
Grobler is another all-rounder who has competed in rallies, off-road races and track events with success. The talented Grobler finished second to Deval in Lichtenburg.
Wat my so 'n bietjie plaas dat hy 'n bietjie klipperig is, en ek dink 'n man kan dalk 'n pap wiel of so optel. En ek weet nie wat sal hy dan maak nie, jy weet, dan jy 'n probleem. Ek dink ons moet seker so vinnig as moontlik ry, maar die kar ook op die pad hou en op die einde van die sneltrek aankom sonder om die kar te verloor. Dis omtrent die beste wat jy kan doen.
Johan Evertse is regarded as the leading front-wheel drive exponent in South Africa and somewhat of an expert when it comes to the auto test. Evertse explains the secret to the auto test.
I think it's car control and doing those whip-arounds in a smooth style with no stalling the car, no stopping the car. I think my chances are as good as any. Hopefully it'll be 3rd time lucky.
The Firestone Master Driver Series reaches its climax at the Yellow Pages 200 at Kyalami this Saturday. See the action live on Top Sport just after 1 p.m. on November 24. You don't want to miss the action. Over the last 2 months, 32 of South Africa's top motorsport stars have battled through qualifying rounds of the Firestone Master Driver Series. 8 made it through to the final. To make sure everyone has an equal chance, the standard Toyota Corollas used in the competition are all tuned to produce the same performance.
All we're basically doing today is putting the cars on the dyno to get the engine performance exactly the same, which allows the drivers to get an equal chance on the final. There's no other way of doing it, because putting the car on the dyno at least gives you a chance of tuning the cars exactly the same according to the machine.
Senior Toyota technician Willem van Rooyen works closely with Chief Scrutineer Paul Crooks. The pair make use of high-tech equipment to tune the cars to identical specifications, and the bonnets are then sealed.
When we have finished setting the car's power, all equal, we will be sealing the bonnets, and then I will take them back and put them in impound and locked up till racing day.
The Firestone Master Driver Series consists of a rally special stage, an auto skills test and a track race, with racing drivers taking on rally stars. As always, there are last-minute preparations to be made.
You're on the camera, be smart.
While the technicians prepare the Toyotas, the drivers draw lots for starting places. For them, it's a time for a little nervous tension.
Third Serge, fourth Hannes, fifth Johan.
The drivers are given the opportunity to check out the route, with nerves a factor even for seasoned campaigners.
We bump each other around and we carry on like little school kids, but it's all really, I think, just a cover-up for the tension. And well, it helps me just joking around, but I'm very serious about this. This is my job.
You just try and distance yourself from it while keeping a little bit of adrenaline flowing, so you're not too aggressive, but aggressive enough to be quick.
There's no room for mistakes, and that's where the tension comes in.
As soon as I get in the car, then I get all fired up and go, because there's no use worrying beforehand, because it's not going to make any difference. But there's definitely a lot of tension between the drivers. You can see the tension.
The final rally stage was run at the Zwartkop Test Centre near Pretoria, with former South African rally champion Hannes Grobler tipped by many as the man most likely to dethrone reigning Master Driver champion Serge Damseaux. The 4.5-kilometre rally section at Zwartkop was regarded by the drivers as the toughest route so far in the competition. The Toyota Corollas are all fitted with standard Firestone steel belt tyres, and with so much at stake, the drivers throw everything into what is a high-speed race against the clock. Apart from being one of South Africa's top rally drivers, Grobler is also an accomplished track racer. It was this combination of skills that prompted many experts to tip him as a potential winner. Disaster struck when Grobler hit a rock at high speed. The impact buckled the wheel rim and dislodged the right front tyre. There were no problems for this indigenous spectator, but the unfortunate Grobler was forced to pull out, and this effectively ruined any hopes he had of winning the overall competition. Briggs comes from a motorsport family and at one stage was a teenage prodigy. Most of Briggs's experience has been gained on the racetrack, and his practice time did nothing to suggest he would be up among the frontrunners. The race cam picks up the action from inside the cockpit of the Toyota, with Briggs hard at work. Car control is a requirement on the track or on the dirt, and Briggs quickly found a rhythm that suggested he was headed for a good time. The Zwartkop special stage provided an interesting mix that is meat and drink to rally drivers. Track racing and rallying required different techniques, but Briggs showed he had the ability to adjust to these requirements. Briggs is a professional driver and this year won Class A in the Stanley Group N Championship and crowned a successful year by winning the Castrol 7-hour endurance event in Cape Town. An impressive performance saw Briggs post the 4th fastest time on the rally section, finishing ahead of experienced rally drivers like Nic De Waal and national champion Glyn Hall.
The Kings is going to be here.
Terry Moss also hails from Port Elizabeth and over the years has earned the reputation of being one of the most uncompromising drivers in South African saloon car racing. When he's not racing, Moss fills in as a water diviner. He has an aggressive approach to his motorsport and, like Briggs, struck a blow for the track racing fraternity by posting the 3rd fastest time on the rally stage. There was a time in the Firestone Master Driver Series when the rally stages provided the rally stars with a big advantage over their track counterparts. The track racers have quickly narrowed the gap, but there's also a trend for top drivers these days to combine racing with rallying or vice versa. Johan Evertse is one of those drivers who concentrates on rallying but also makes sporadic track appearances. Evertse has won top honours at regional and national level as a rally driver and is acknowledged as the first real front-wheel drive expert in South African rallying. The worldwide trend towards front-wheel drive cars provided rally drivers with a transitionary period as they grappled with a switch from the totally different technique needed for rear-wheel drive cars. Evertse was the first South African to consciously set about mastering front-wheel drive, and it brought him rich rewards. Evertse's reward at Zwartkop was 2nd fastest time, and it set him up with a good chance in the overall competition. Serge Damseaux is a fine example of the new breed of professional driver who places the emphasis on versatility.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
The Somerset West car dealer is equally at home on the track or on the dirt and has won South African championships in rallying and in a variety of standard and modified saloon cars on the track. Over the last 2 years, the quietly spoken Damseaux has turned the Master Driver Series into his own domain. He is this year aiming for his 3rd successive victory in the competition and once again has a faithful band of followers who would not bet against him. The race cam once again provides a great view of what it is like to be in a rally car at speed. The top drivers make it all look so easy. Damseaux is a former South African rally champion and the top works driver for the official Toyota team. Earlier this year he competed with great success in the tough Scottish rally where he finished 3rd in his class with regular navigator Vito Bonafide. Damseaux put himself in line for his 3rd Firestone Master Driver Series success by winning the rally section by more than 2 seconds from Johan Evertse. Terry Moss and Mike Briggs were 3rd and 4th, with disappointing results for Nic De Waal and Glyn Hall.
This one, please.
The auto skills test at the Zwartkop skid-pan saw the usual draw for start positions, with the competitors walking the course a la show jumping. It was here that many experts felt the competition could be won and lost. Johan Evertse has competed in previous Master Driver competitions and is considered something of an auto skills test expert. Here, the drivers have to go through a series of predetermined maneuvers, with the clock once again their enemy. There are also harsh penalties for mistakes, with a 10-second penalty for failing to straddle white lines when required, or for knocking down course bollards. Evertse was looking in good shape until an uncharacteristic error saw the dreaded yellow flag being waved. This heralded a 10-second penalty for not straddling a white line. It gets a bit hectic in the cockpit, but this sort of driving is not recommended while looking for a parking spot at the local supermarket on a Saturday morning. Evertse's 10-second penalty cost him dearly and badly dented his chances of overall victory.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Steve Wynham is a medical technician at a Cape Town hospital and is another driver who combines track racing with rallying. Wynham is more at home on the track but loves to go rallying and admits to enjoying practicing for the auto skills test. It appears that handbrake turns and the like are apt to bring out the schoolboy lurking in all of us. Wynham avoided picking up penalties at the spot where Evertse blotted his copybook. It was a smooth run that earned him 4th place. Wynham's 4th place in the auto test saw him end the day level on points with Terry Moss and Johan Evertse, with all three still in with an outside chance of sneaking away with overall honours. Wynham has competed in all the previous Master Driver competitions and completed his run in a blaze of smoking tyres.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Glyn Hall has also made it through to the final of all the previous Master Driver competitions. A mechanical engineer by profession, Hall this year won the South African Rally Championship. Although his track appearances are confined mainly to Master Driver competitions, Hall has proved to be very fast in the racing sections. A cool and calm auto test performance was spoiled only by a little handbrake trouble at the obstacle which caught out Evertse. Hall's handbrake incident cost him split seconds, but he still managed to claim 2nd spot in the auto test, edging out Grobler by the narrowest of margins. This left Hall in 3rd place overall in the competition, putting him in a good position to bid for the title. These sort of manoeuvres are not in the driver's license test handbook, but the top stars make it all look so simple. Cape Townian Nic De Waal looked cool and determined as he waited for the start signal for his run. After a disappointing showing in the rally section, De Waal needed a good performance to put him back into the running. De Waal is an engineer by trade and designs and builds yachts in Cape Town. He's another of the breed of versatile drivers who hop from race cars to rally cars with equal success. Although he was under a great deal of pressure, De Waal's nerve held. He produced a performance of stunning proportions to completely overshadow the rest of the field. The race cam shows De Waal is all concentration and determination as he goes about his work. De Waal's immaculate display saw him finish a whopping 5 seconds ahead of 2nd placed Glyn Hall. This leapfrogged him into 2nd place behind Serge Damseaux in the overall standings. With Nic De Waal edging out Serge Damseaux for pole position, the scene was set for an exciting end to the competition. They were followed by Johan Evertse, Terry Moss and Grobler.
Well, I really hope that being on pole is a good omen. and I hope I'm going to win the race and thereby winning the title too.
As the lights turned to green, it was poleman Deval who led away the field, with Damseaux immediately slotting into second place. The cars were closely bunched and it was obvious a tight race was going to develop. Deval led the charge into Yellow Pages corner for the first time, with plenty of fender banging going on as the drivers jockeyed for positions. As they streamed through the Top Sport S's, national rally champion Glyn Hall decided on a new line through the corner. This involved doing some farming, with Hall desperate to get among the leaders. On the West Bank table, Deval firmly shut the door on Damseaux and was determined to wrest the Firestone Master Driver crown from his Western Cape compatriot.
gaan hulle uithaal om hierdie baie hoog aangeskrewe titel agter hulle naam te skryf van die Suid-Afrikaanse Firestone meesterbestuurder.
And the two of them must be very, very careful they don't put each other up.
Deval and Damseaux are highly experienced saloon car racers and were quickly opening a slight lead on the rest of the field. As was to be expected, the pace was a frantic one, with the leading pair racing right on the ragged edge.
One of them is going to go flying off the circuit, and if both of them go off, well, then both the Toyota drivers are going to be very, very unpopular amongst their team.
Down the main straight, the cars were flying, with Deval still holding off Damseaux. There was little to choose between the chasing pack, with the Toyota Corollas making up a high-speed train.
They each picked a number, and the car that related to the number that they drew out the hat as the car they got. Nobody was allowed to do any work whatsoever on the motor car. They got in the car, and that's how they had to...
As the race progressed, Deval had eked out a few more meters on Damseaux. The defending champion was doing his best to get back on level terms, and Deval had a fight on his hands.
It's amazing as the one car goes off the racing line.
They come towards us and they're into the last lap. Into the last lap, the 4 kilometers to go.
On the last lap, Deval looked to have matters sewn up. Damseaux, if he was to retain his title, would have to come up with something dramatic over the last few kilometers.
Still fighting it out as they come through. Let's look at them as they come through there. Looks like Evertse.
There were further problems for Damseaux when Johan Evertse moved ahead of the Cape driver, who was also under pressure from Hannes Grobler and Steve Wynham.
There's the leader, Nic De Waal. These are all...
Deval had a comfortable lead and only had to stay on the circuit to make sure of victory. Behind him, Damseaux was still battling to move ahead of Evertse and back into second place.
Drivers are still giving every single thing that they have got. There's no doubt about it. They've been
Deval was always in control of proceedings and was well on the way to victory and the title. Damseaux managed to slip past Evertse to regain second, with Hannes Grobler and Steve Wynham still chasing for all they were worth.
Of them all. And these were the 8 drivers that eventually made it to this race here in this fast.
Down the IGI mineshaft and through Continental Corner, the cars were starting to slide around. Grobler went wide onto the dirt, but he's used to rally conditions and the excursion never cost him a place.
Then Serge Damseaux, and then it's Hannes Grobler. That's Hannes Grobler at his best. Loving it. He's going off on Continental tires. He's happy. That doesn't phase him out one little bit.
Damseaux appeared to have resigned himself to settling for second place, but further down the field there were some tremendous dices going on. With the adrenaline pumping, drivers were still determined to pull a fast one on old rivals.
The total on the last tour, Hannes Grobler still keeping Steve Wynham at bay. You can hear that.
Into Nashua Corner for the last time, all that lay ahead of Deval and the Firestone Master Driver crown was the checkered flag.
Going from the marshals, here he comes, Nic De Waal, the winner of the Firestone Masters.
As the delighted Deval took the flag, Damseaux was still battling to hold off Evertse. Behind Evertse, Grobler finally got the better of Wynham, with Mike Briggs, Terry Moss and Glyn Hall next up.
Evertse and Hannes Grobler. Here they come streaming through. Nothing between the 2nd to the 8th man, but Nic De Waal certainly dominated that one.
After 2 months of tough competition, it was finally a case of mission accomplished for Deval. The Cape Town engineer had again demonstrated his versatility, with Serge Damseaux finally having to relinquish his hold on the Firestone Master Driver Series.
Cape Town's Nic De Waal is just designed a...
It's very satisfying to know that I've been able to come out tops amongst the country's leading rally and racing drivers, driving under similar conditions and driving similar cars. And secondly, I believe that the Firestone Master Driver Series is a very prestigious event, and it's really nice to be able to carry the title of the Firestone Master Driver for 1990.